We're back. We're back. We're gone live. We are live. Today is April 12th, 2019, and I'm talking about the Jupiter in retrograde. Elaine Marolakos Edelson here with Transformational Astrology. I want to help you get your mojo back. Finally, my bangs are at a place where I love them. Of course, that will only last about, 20 minutes. My hair grows so fast. So, we had an anomaly, right? We were able to see the images of the black hole in Sagittarius and in Virgo. That's our new technology, right? That comes to being on the event horizon. So I've been encouraging people to go in to find their black hole within. Now here's something fascinating. In every black hole, there are particles of light. Yes. So even in your darkest hour, your most profound experience, there are particles of light, and that's what you need to look for. So we are talking about transformational astrology here with Astrology Mojo. I want to help you get your mojo back. Remember, folks, the planets don't make you do anything. We live in a cooperation with the cosmos. When the planets make a move, you feel it. When you make a move, the planets reflect that in the heavens. Who's here with me? I'm putting on my astrology watch that my husband gave me. And I'm also wearing tourmaline today. I have a bracelet of many colors of tourmaline. Oops, I don't know if you can see that. And tourmaline is a very powerful healing stone that is so marvelous, really. And it comes in many colors, and each one represents different parts of your experience, your chakras. So if you have an opportunity to grab a tourmaline, black, also called schorl, is great for protection. And the pink tourmaline is great for heart opening and healing old wounds. And even if your head says, no, I worked that out. I don't know. Keep going. That's what retrogrades are for, folks. And green tourmaline, also healing the physical form as much as it is healing the emotional heart. And then there is brown tourmaline and more red tourmaline, and those are more for your power and sexual healing. Hi, Jeanette. Nice to see you. Thanks for showing up and stopping by. Got to put on my glasses. Oh, wow. You look fabulous. I couldn't decide what kind of drink I wanted today, so I chose between my incredible power drink with the Incredibles or my mix of Ticino with decaf, Swiss press decaf coffee combo, because I don't drink caffeine. So tell me, what is the big judgment that you have? We're talking about judgments today because Jupiter, the planet that represents, remember the planets don't do a thing to you, and I will say that forever and ever and ever. Jupiter represents expansion. Jupiter represents travel. In astrology, Jupiter also represents foreign affairs, and cultural events, so that ties in with travel. Why? Because Jupiter is the muse to Sagittarius, and Sagittarius loves to search for the truth, and they do that through different cultures and experiences. Science, yes. Art, writing, comedy, profound healing in ashrams, on the chiropractor's table, wherever you can find it, right? This is what we're experiencing now. And with Jupiter in retrograde, what it looks like is we're going in to look for that black hole within us, where we think we've healed something, but yet we're not seeing the results in the outside world. That is your proof that it's not finished yet. And so, And deep down within, a lot of times we find that there is a judgment in the way of our healing progress. So I want you to look for that judgment. What does that look like? What does it feel like? And the judgment may not be a nasty, negative, hey, they have and I don't. It may not be that. It could be a self-judgment. It could be a belief system you have that says, yeah, no, until I do this thing, I'm not allowed to have what I want. That's also a judgment. So I'm not talking just about looking at someone's life and accusing them of something that they're not. That is one definition of judgment. When you delve into parts of you that feel off center. You know, emotions play a huge part in your healing process, right? Your body, mind, spirit. And that combination makes a healing catalyst. You know, when you align body, mind, spirit, boom, the door opens. You see your black hole and you see the particles of light in the black hole. And they do exist, science has said. So what else do we know about ourselves? That every time you try to do this, that happens, but not the thing you want. So where do you look then? Sometimes it's hard to see in your own self what's going on. And that's when I want you to pay attention to the verbal judgments or the mental judgments you make about another person's life. At that point, yes. Because usually what you're talking about in someone else's life comes from one of two places. You're very insecure, which we all are, and you want to feel better about yourself. So a lot of times we will put someone down so that we can feel better about who we are. There's no blame or judgment on any of this. If you see this in yourself, it's just a point of awareness, and you say, oh, wait, you know, I just put them down in my mind so that I could feel better about who I am. And you know what I like to say? It's like if you looked at an entire, well, this is Nuamite. You can't really see into it. There's nothing to see because it's a solid stone. But if you could imagine a matrix of a ball where, you know, here I am now. This was me yesterday. This will be me tomorrow. This was you. I mean, like we all experience everything at different times, sometimes simultaneously, not often. But if you look at someone and you have a negative feeling toward them and you want to judge them, just remember this. I was you yesterday, I am you today, or I will be you tomorrow. And that ought to invite compassion into the conversation, because Jupiter also represents the generosity that you are, the compassion that you are, and that abundance factor that you want to bring into your life even more. Okay, so what's the judgment? And it can be about someone else. And if you're having an issue with a neighbor, a family member, you might say, well, every time I talk to them, they shut me down. You know, where do you go from there? Are you saying, well, that's who they are. They're never going to change. They're just stupid. They're just small. They're just, you know, that can be a judgment. So, or you might say, I am judging myself because I've been working really hard at fill in the blank and I'm not seeing results. So I must be doing something wrong, which may not always be the case. Sometimes it's about your timing, remember? Oh, look at these Victorian sleeves. Aren't they just beautiful? They have like buttons and Chico's is my new best friend. Okay, your timing. Wait a minute. That's what astrology says. Astrology shows you your timing. So tell me, what's in your timing right now? What is it that you would like to resolve? That's the question. So let me know that you're here, right in the chat box, in the comment section. Give me your name. When's your birthday? Yeah, I think I wanted something warm to drink instead of the cold drink. Couldn't decide. Speaking of tourmaline, I pulled this out of got to get the dust bunnies off of it. I frequent gem and mineral shows when I can, and I got this particular stone back in New Jersey when I went to a gem and mineral show, maybe about 35 years ago. And this is a chunk of tourmaline. Now, there are rutilations, and the rutilations are the tiny little sticks that you might see and the points. And then when you turn it over, you can see the lines. And look at that. Pink tourmaline, green tourmaline. There's black tourmaline in there. This is a chunk of tourmaline. I just love this rock. And that's where you would take, or someone who does this, not me, take, get all the little stones from tourmaline, polish them, put them on a bracelet, and you wear them, and you feel like, I'm going to cover all my chakras today. I want to do some healing today. And I don't always have to be focused on it. So sometimes the crystals can help amplify what your issues are, right? and where you need to go with them. So talk to me, folks. Hi, who's here? What's the latest and the greatest news? What wonderful things are happening in your life? What awarenesses are coming into view? You know, when we see anomalies in the world and wonderful things, it's like, you know, we all gather around and flip the channels and say, oh my gosh, look at that. We can, you know, years ago it was the advent of technology coming into play, and you could stare at a box and there'd be someone talking on the other side, or before that it was radio. You know, now we're looking at actual images of the universe. I find that fascinating and enlightening and very inspiring too, because sometimes I feel like if I think that I am this small and I've only got, you know, so much time in a day to get something done, sometimes I get tired, right? Don't you get tired? Like you're working, you're doing something, you go like, and then there's things, I could work and still not stop working because of who I am and that what I love to do. I don't see work as a negative, by the way. I'm a Capricorn rising, you know. I love doing my joy. That's what I love doing. But I'll use a different word. Sometimes there's drudgery and routine that sets me back. And I think, what am I doing? And I talked about this a couple of times ago, where my husband and I, we work in the house. We each have our businesses and we work together as well. And I said to him the other day, do you have any friends? Like, who are your friends? We don't go out. We're just in the house all the time. I look in the backyard and there's just, you know, like this cropping of weeds that are coming up. And I feel like, are we those people who just like, we look out the window once in a while and go, what's out there in the world? I don't know. So we started going out more, seeing the neighbors more, inviting people over for brunch. So we're stretching that social aspect of our lives. So Star says, hi, I'm headed to Vegas for volley with daughter, and for fun, we go to a few crystal shops with my husband. That sounds exciting. That sounds like a lot of fun. Yes, I'm going, Jutam? Am I saying your name correctly? Yes, I'm going straight across Cape Canaveral. Wow. Well, there's some travel for you. And Christine, hello. Elaine, what can we expect with intentions in a Jupiter retrograde? Example, intentions to start a business? Well, your intentions are what? If you were to combine your inspiration with your joy and your actions, you put it together, that is your intention. That's the seed of your intention. So, well, when Jupiter is retrograde, it doesn't really matter about your intentions at any time. It's if you wake up and you have an intention, that's something you want to be doing, correct? So Jupiter in retrograde is meant to show you what stops you from action, what stops you from healing, what stops you from advancing, what stops you from expanding into your joy. Does that make sense? And again, it's not the planet that's doing it to you. It's your timing. The planets merely represent your timing because each planet describes a physical, emotional, or intellectual attribute or situation for every human being. Ta-da! Make sense? Yes. Yes, Upstairs at Eric's. I used to love that group. Yes, Upstairs at Eric's, that particular song. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. So if you have an intention to start a business, then gather your intel, gather your facts. It depends on what developmental stage you're at. Some people rush forward and put a lot of money into a business without looking at the steps necessary to put that business together in a very viable way. So you want to look at, is it a brick and mortar type of business? Is it an online business? Is it your expansion of something that already exists and something you would like to bring people into? Do you need to hire employees? Are you looking at it's a solo deal and you just want to bring in more clients. So you have to look at where you are, what you've been doing, and what doesn't work. That's what I'm talking about regarding the black hole of iniquity in Jupiter in retrograde, is looking at what's the gap? What's the thing in you, in your mind, body, spirit, or experience that stops you, that limits your expansion? What's limiting your expansion right now? Hi, Jesse's here too. So sometimes it's not, that visible. Sometimes it's a very wispy, emotional thing where you might ask yourself, hey, if you know how to do EFT tapping or you know how to muscle test, it's important that you look at what the questions are from different angles. So let's say you want to advance in business and it's not going your way. You can't get a loan to upgrade your store, or people aren't buying your inventory or your services. And then that's when you say to yourself, you know what? I just need to go back now and look at something different. What am I not doing? What am I doing? What am I not doing? So, or let's say you're healing something in your body and it's going on, it's taking a long time. You might take into account, well, I'm older, the biology is different, the hormones are different. And when you compile all of these things, you've had blood tests, you've, done emotional work, you've been with energy workers, or you've had a reading, or you've been to the chiropractor and the doctors and the holistic people and the Akashic Records people, and you've done all this stuff and still you have an issue. This is what this time frame is for. So then that's when you set your intention to be shown the truth. That's it. In a calm, clear, healthy way. So you ask the universe, you ask your angels, guides, masters, energies, passed on loved ones, whatever it is you believe in, please show me the truth in a clear, calm, healthy way with those parameters, because you will get knocked on your ass otherwise. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. So, when you ask to be shown the truth, what happens is sometimes a word just like shoots through your brain and you go, wait a minute. What was that word? I heard somebody say the word rejection and I had I bristled. I had a physical reaction. Take that as a sign. Take that as information that can help you. Maybe it's the pathway to the door on the inside. Maybe it's the doorknob. Maybe it's the light overhead. Does that make sense? So if you're looking at something that you want more clarity on and you ask the universe and you ask yourself, first of all, am I open to hearing the truth? Because you may not be open. And that's okay. No judgments. Maybe you don't want to hear it. That's all right. But if you keep asking the question and looking for answers outside of yourself and you're not willing to hear the truth, I call that, what do you call that? Emotional wall in a hard place. That doesn't feel good. Yes, tapping an EFT, it's really great. I'm here, I'm just giving offerings as slight as I can. I don't know what that means. Maybe you can clarify. So what's really helpful too is that when you hear something and feel something, don't take it as the ultimate truth, like, I just found the answer, because it may just be one piece of the puzzle. It may just be the step toward the next word that gets your attention. Right? So if you're healing something and you can't seem to get to it, and you've been taking the herbs and the medication and the massage and the blah, blah, whatever, that's when after a few months you say, okay, is it appropriate for me right now? Let me ask the universe, is it appropriate for me to know the absolute truth? You're going to get maybe nothing. Maybe you won't get anything. Maybe you go through your day and suddenly someone says to you, hey, haven't seen you in a while. How have you been? Remember, retrogrades bring the past back to the present. So we're in a Jupiter retrograde, and the past will come back. So maybe you come across a photograph in your closet or an old notebook, and you go through your notes and you say, did I write that? I must have been studying about healing this headache or this, cyst or this backache. And I took notes and wow, I forgot about that. And then you'll feel, if you pay attention, your intuition will show you that it's true or not true. It's like playing a game, Remember the $10,000 pyramid? You swivel your chair around and you hear all these things and you just start answering. You just start throwing out topics. Is it about my health? Is it my wealth? Is it my healing? Is it my relationship? Pretty soon you're going to get a ding, 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 and sometimes when you feel that it's true, like, oh yes, I feel that my illness relates to what emotional. You want to make a bridge between something physical to something mental to something emotional. So the intellect, the biology, and the emotions are all going to tie together. So if you're taking care of the intellectual part, you're researching, you're doing some studies, you're learning, you're applying, great. Then your biology. You're taking the proper nutrients, drinking enough water, you're taking what you're supposed to, fantastic. What about the emotional aspect? Do you actually want to heal? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're healing. Maybe your issue is a defense against harm. Maybe your physical issue or the business issue or the relationship issue that you're having exists because there's a part of you that just won't allow the healing. Do you see? It's like, so you can have a defense against the dark arts. Make sense? I'm going to pull a card for everybody. So let me read also. Somebody's laughing at me. Taz. Did I say something funny? Star says, ask the universe to please show me the truth in a calm, clear, healthy, beneficial way. Yes. Absolutely. Calm, clear, healthy. Because I can always ask for the truth and have somebody slap me in the face with it. Ouch. Ouch. All right, I got my happy cards. And also, you can find the blue button if you're on a computer. I am giving Jupiter in retrograde readings. This is a very powerful reading because it dates back to 1995, 2007, all within 12-month periods, and then now. And then we're going to look at the trajectory of where you're going. And it comes with a 30-day email follow-up. So there's emotional, physical, intellectual healing with this particular 1-hour session with me. And yeah. Some people need to go slow and go through a process where they think about it. They go see maybe a therapist or a counselor. Fantastic. If you're still engaging the same issue after 3 months, after 6 months, after a year, perhaps you need to find a new way to access the truth. Think about that. And here are the, 2 came out at the same. This one keeps popping out. And I pulled this one the other day as well. Perpetual transformation is looks very trippy with the green and yellow iridescent stuff. So perpetual transformation is being aware in as many moments as possible in the moment. What you're doing, why you're doing it, what's your motivation. That's where intention comes in. If you're doing something, you have an intention to increase business and you say, well, all right, I want to get the word out. This is what I do. My husband spoke with someone yesterday, actually, a potential client, and she has a very powerful, lucrative business and business opportunity and potential. And he said, okay, well, the first thing we're going to do is let's email your list. And no, I refuse. I will not. The stubbornness is like the resistance. And I said, well, maybe this person has a judgment, obviously, against getting emails and doesn't want to, what is the reason behind the no? No, because this is where it will start if you have an online business and an online presence. You actually need to email people to let them know you exist. but she's not willing to do that. And I said, well, maybe there's, obviously there's something behind that. And so maybe if you say it in different ways or speak to her the potential and the alternative, because if you don't do certain things, nothing will change, right? It just is that simple. And you want to also look at meditating on in a world where there is so many changing gender identities, I don't want to just say male or female, but I want to talk about receptivity and action. So allowing something is typically looked at as feminine energy, whether you're a man, woman, transgender, or non-binary. It doesn't matter how you label yourself. But feminine energy, allows. So when do you allow information to come from other people, from your psyche, from the universe, from your own wisdom and wealth of knowing? When do you allow? And that's the feminine aspect. So if you come up against a brick wall, the rock and the hard place is going to include your emotions. And that the masculine energy is the action, the orientation toward direction. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go that way. And this is what I'm going to get done. And this is why. Here's the end result. That's what I want. That's the goal. So once you know where you're going, you can then strategize how to get there, correct? I mean, it makes logical sense. Now, spirit comes into play. That is your ultimate inspiration. And then intention is your mind saying, here's how I'd like to map it out. This is what I would like it to look like. And then you go along and you see some results and it's great. And then suddenly there's a stopping point and nothing's happening. Well, several things culminate, and that is your timing. Maybe you need to look back and say, did I miss something? Am I sure this is the direction I want to go in? Is this how it really ought to be working? Do I really want that goal? That's what retrogrades represent, is stepping back to go forward. Does that make sense? So you want to examine through meditation as you're, moving through your day, your moment or something. When do you get defensive? When are you offensive? You want to look at the extremes because they're on a red thread and they vibrate in energy. So you may not be that attuned, and that's okay, because maybe you're just starting and you meditate and it's 3 minutes and you're like, yeah, I hear the dog, scratching, and somebody's mowing their lawn, and you get very distracted. So to the best of your ability, in as many moments as possible, you can have a waking, walking meditation where you look about and say, well, who am I in this scenario right now? With these people, by myself, with the work that I'm doing? Am I happy? Do I feel like I'm missing something? Okay. These are the things you want to look at. Emotional triggers. That's right. $25,000 pyramid. I used to love that show. I always felt intimidated by Jeopardy because I didn't understand the format. To me, it was like saying, nobody doesn't like Sarah Lee. Wait a minute. Does that mean people like Sarah Lee? Wait, no. Potent potables for 50. I don't even know what that means. So I always felt intimidated by Jeopardy. But I love crossword puzzles. They keep my mind going. And I used to love game shows. So when we were, our daughter was maybe 7 or 8. She got very sick and on the couch. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to introduce you to game shows. And we had a lot of fun. It was cool. Okay, so Taz says, I've had to learn to let things that affected my body not infiltrate my psyche. And now do the opposite. Okay? Because sometimes we put up a protection around a certain instance or situation. It's like, well, maybe I have really bad cramps. Those days are over for me. But, maybe you have really bad cramps. Or maybe you fell and you got hurt and you're thwarted. And you're like, nope, I have to finish this report. Or, I'm studying for this exam. Or I'm doing this thing. I'm not going to let my body get me down. Instead of the fight, which puts up defense, how about, because infiltrate that sounds like an Aries word, and it puts up resistance. So you want to see where the resistance is. Now, I fell on my spine the other day, and I literally thought I cracked a bone. I was working out, and I swear to you, it felt like I was on a exercise ball, a big one, and I was doing sit-ups on an exercise ball at a gym, but I didn't have a mat underneath. It was just a floor. And I went to lean up to readjust, and it really felt like somebody moved the ball. There was nobody around me. And I didn't sense any energies because I asked, it's like, who did that? It's like the ball just literally zoomed away from me and went back to its original position against the wall. And I was like, WTF, man. I landed from 22 inches or so, whatever, bam, right on the floor. And I got the wind knocked out of me. So it's been sore ever since, icing it, taking my aspirin or whatever I take to stop the pain. And then I thought, did I do this to myself? Was I not present in the moment? And I thought, no, I was present. The ball just moved and I landed on my butt and it hurt. And I got angry because I have things I want to do and, stuff to accomplish. Could I sit? Yes, I could with an ice pack for 3 days in a row, which helped a lot. So I reduced inflammation. I don't eat sugar or wheat as it is. So there's not a lot of inflammation in my body, but just wanted to help it along. It's still sore. And I thought, all right, I don't want to get upset about it because if I do, I'll make it worse. So what I did was meditate on my body moving with ease. So I would do I did yoga stretches immediately after. And nurtured my body. And instead of being upset at the experience, I accepted it as this is what happened. And now I'm going to, with as much neutrality and compassion, do what I need to do for me. No matter my agenda or anybody's idea of what I should be doing or how I should be doing it. And so that I know that has helped me. And now it's just a matter of the biology being healed, right? So if you come across a situation where you have a stopping point, there's a brick wall in front of you, and you may get upset and go, wait a minute, I'll climb that wall. Get out of my way. I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'll climb that wall. It's okay. Remember, retrogrades sometimes put up an invisible barrier so that you could turn around and look within and say, okay, is my objective truthful? Is my action and path necessary and appropriate? Do I need to do something differently? We would look at life and say, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Right? Groucho Marx said that. And so we don't want to analyze everything, but at the same time, you want to be present with what's happening and then redirect your energy toward something neutral to positive. Neutral to positive. Neutral to positive. Whatever direction you see it going. It's not always from down to up, okay? So let that expand your mind alone. All right, I'm going to pull another card. And remember, folks, do figure eights with selenite, best pain relievers. I will. Thank you for that. Thank you. Think about between now and next Tuesday when I come back. I'll be talking about Jupiter for quite a while because it's going to be big. This is just the beginning of what comes your way and what comes back your way. Now, Jupiter also represents publishing. And not just what you read, but are you writing something? Or the whole idea of how a story affects your psyche. Think about the stories you've been telling around the dinner table for years. Now, after a while, it becomes entertaining. Oh, Uncle Pete, what I hear. Oh my gosh, the day you were born. Blah, blah, blah. Or I remember you were, 9 months old and Uncle Pete had to walk through a snowstorm, to buy milk because blah, blah, And so that reinforced the poverty, and that reinforced the struggle and the trauma. So, I mean, even my mother said to me, your grandmother used to say to me when she would make bread every year around Easter time. And I am not religious, no judgment on any of it. But when we celebrated Orthodox Greek Easter, it was typically not the same calendar as the Julian calendar instead of the Gregorian calendar. So, it felt weird that when I was a kid, other people would be celebrating Easter and it was like, this is the holiday. And then a week or two later, we'd be celebrating our Easter. And it would be like, well, you're weird. My friends would go, why? We already had Easter. And I remember thinking, oh gosh, I felt judged a lot for, and then I felt like I was standing out, which I didn't want to. So that was a very interesting time. And why I say this is because when, and I'll come back to my grandmother making bread at Easter time, but if you have certain beliefs and they are very separate from other people's beliefs, whether they be political, religious, spiritual, sexual, intellectual, it doesn't matter. You talk about food. Oh no, this will do this to you. Somebody swore to me that, taking this a particular herb would harm me, or that it was so beneficial and I should do it. And I said, well, really? Yeah, no, my body doesn't want green tea. I've had DNA testing. It's like on the big do not take list. So you have a belief and it sets the stage for every single minute that passes, every moment of your future. My grandmother, who could not read or write English, was very good about math in her head, and she had a produce store. I mean, she used to collect olives from trees in Greece. I still have her goat bell that she used. And when she made bread every Easter, and she was a very religious woman, she would knead the bread with her hand, and she would say, as I am kneaded in poverty, so is the life force, and, whatever, I had to translate it, from Greek, in this bread. As I am kneaded in poverty. This was her mantra. Like, she was grateful for the bread because she was poor. That's the lineage, right? So think about your world and what the extremes are. It's like, are you allowing yourself to go beyond the limitation? Now, in your head, you might say, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do it. I wish I had the lottery. I win the lottery. But some part of you is not ready. And that's the part you want to address. And that's the part you want to get Gucci with, as our daughter Aaliyah would say. You want to get Gucci with that part so you can nurture it and hold it and say, you've served me well, and now I'm going to let you go because I feel more empowered when, fill in the blank. When do you feel more empowered? So think about that. And if you're on a tablet or a phone, you might see my blue button below, and it says book now. And that 60-minute reading is what I'm looking at for the next 6 weeks for Jupiter in retrograde as I look back. And it'll be many calculations because Jupiter travels through the constellations approximately every 12 years. It'll come back into a prominent position in your world. So I will be looking at 1995, 2007. What were the pivotal areas? What were the stuck points? So that we can eliminate these things in you. And you'll be doing energy work with me. And we'll be looking at what the trajectory is, where we can take you beyond if you're ready to expand into your ultimate powerful self. That's what we're looking at with a 30-day follow-up. All right, folks. Jessie says, holy S-H-I-T, I'm feeling this so hard. And wow, the kneading story. Yeah, right? Right? I am grateful for every single moment I breathe. Even when I'm not feeling good, I am grateful. Even when I'm angry and frustrated that I don't see results, I am grateful because I know that buoyancy between me and the world has that emotional barrier. So gratitude weaves its way through all that stuff, makes an opening, parts the waves and the ways, and brings a bridge to me. so that I can now get what I need or want. And then sometimes I would say, don't we want it today? Don't we want it in a hurry? But really, are you ready? I had a client who complained about her husband for years and said, well, he doesn't do this and he doesn't do that. And I said, you know for a fact, if you close your eyes and hear my words, that if he turned around and did everything you wanted, you would run away and hide. Right? So think about the thing you want and why it's so hard to get. Turn around, look within, make peace with yourself. And I'll be back on Tuesday, and we'll talk more about that black hole that is otherwise known as a potential for your profound experience in life. Ta-da! Okay, folks. I'll see you again. Be well.